Good morning. If you guys were able to watch the last video, it was about how to build a couple foundational skills, for your success financially that most people probably haven't taken the time to build because they haven't realized those are really the barriers to them. How much money you make is not the barrier to your success, although people think it is. And I can prove that by showing you across the profile of people that make 30,000 to 250,000, the fact that they all spend everything that they make. Okay, scientific process says that is not the variable difference between the people that build wealth and the people that don't build wealth. And so, what we're talking about is those differences. And so, from the last video, you worked on building 4 skills. One was having an account and not touching it. Don't do what you think's smart. Don't try to maximize your savings in the account. Don't try to maximize your interest or your investing in the account. None of that stuff. That's what you did before. That's not what you're going to do now. Number 2, don't make decisions that you think are smart. Okay? There's a way that you think about things, and that way does not get you to the purpose that you want to get to. Okay? It didn't get me there, and so you're going to have to learn what that thinking looks like, and that takes a little longer. So in the interim, you're going to do a couple things systematically and then not make decisions, because then you won't make the wrong decision. You believe that action is what's needed to get to wealth, and that is actually wrong. Number 3, understand what success looks like. A successful investment pays you like 6% a year. Okay? If you look at Warren Buffett's investments in his wind technology or his energy technologies, he's looking for a 6% return. Now, there are ways we can maybe, leverage that. There are ways we can shift it with tax savings and things. But 6% means you put $100 in and you're getting $6 a year or 50 cents a month. Okay? And I don't think that's the success that you're thinking is actually what makes people rich. And so you're mistaking what success you're looking for. Number 4, learn why. Why do you have an account? Why do you build wealth? Because the fact is nobody around you does. Everyone around you doesn't have a reason. They don't do that. If they get money, they spend it, right? You know that. Money is the trigger for their spending. So we're going to get into here systematic investing after those skills that you've built. And let's switch screens. So systematic investing. Now, you've got amount of money you're putting into a separate account. You're not touching the account. And so we're going to start doing something. I would do 2 things. I would take about half the money and I would start monthly investing, no matter what the price is, in a broad market ETF. Now here's the ticker symbol VIG or VOO. VIG is more of a dividend leaning one, and VOO is a total S&P fund. Now don't look at it because you don't understand it, but just put half of it in there every single month, every single time you do it. Automate it if you can, and don't touch it. Now, by doing this and having this automatic investment, this is going to tell us how much money we have to do some learning with, okay? Now, if your automatic investment every month is $100, okay? And you take that $100 and you say, I saw this guy, Jeff, and he invested in Home Depot, and so I would like to own Home Depot, okay? So you take Home Depot, and you've never owned it before. You know nothing about it. Don't know what it feels like to own it. And you put $100 in there, okay? Now, if you're wrong, how far did it set you back? A year? No. 6 months? No. 1 month, okay? So 1 month setting you back is kind of a play. It's not going to kill you. It sets you back 1 month, okay? We've already got this systematically set up, so it's going to set you back 2 months of this systematic savings and investment automatically, so that's going to cover your risk. And maybe you put $100 in Home Depot, okay? Now, what are you looking for Home Depot? Double? Triple? 10x? Well, if Home Depot all of a sudden returns you, let's say it returns you $1,000, okay? Now, if you didn't learn these skills above, what are you going to do with that $1,000? You're going to spend it. You're going to combine it in the other stuff, and it's going to be gone. And 10,000, 100,000 will be gone. I guarantee you, you will spend it. That is how the cake works, right? Cake's on the table, it gets eaten. I mean, try it. I mean, put a cake on your table and see if it gets eaten. I guarantee it does. So, we're going to rely on some of these skills. You put $100 on Home Depot, you see what it feels like. Okay? Now, it's okay because it's 1 month. Now, what would an investment look like? Well, for me, an investment might be, let's say that I've done this, and I've done the systematic investing in the S&P 500. Let's say I've done it for a year, okay? And so you look at my portfolio, I've done it for 1 year, I got $100 a month. So in that account, I have, let's say, $600 in VIG, okay? Now I also have $600 in cash, okay? Because I didn't make any decisions, and I put $100 a month in there, half of it went to VIG. Now, second year, I've got $1,200 in VIG, and this was no returns, and I've got $1,200 in cash, okay? And I've been owning this $100 Home Depot for 6 months now, and I like the way it feels. It pays me a 2% dividend. You know, it's kind of steady. Whatever it is you like. And so this Home Depot, you know, the market goes down. Okay. Now I've got $1,200 in cash, so maybe I take half of that, and I'm not taking half of the $1,200 cash because it's there. I'm taking 6 months worth of my savings, and I'm putting $600 in Home Depot because I think it's a good time to buy Home Depot. Okay. Now, how did I determine that? Number one, I owned it for a while in kind of this play area. Not much consequences, and I liked what it felt like. And I had decided it was something that if I got a chance, I would buy more of. Now, I bought 6 months. Now, my risk is 6 months. Okay? Now, let's say that you had $1,000 total that you'd accumulated, okay? And you weren't doing systematic investing, like I said, and you took the $1,000 you put in Home Depot. How many months are you risking? Well, it took you 4 years to get the $1,000. So now you're risking 4 years. Now, that's stupid, okay? So until you have this systematic investment and systematic savings set up, you really don't know how much to put in different investments, okay? So the reason this is important is because if this Home Depot at $100 in there, if it goes up or down, it's not going to affect you very much. You're not going to be like, oh my gosh, how do I pay the bills? Because this is separate money. And even if at this point, when you go to make the decision to do that investment because that thing you like is down, when you buy it, you know you're risking 6 months. You're not risking everything you have. In 6 months, this money will be back in your account because you're doing this systematic investment. And so that sets you up to be able to invest. So one thing, you know, VIG, ETFs, systematic. Second thing, you're building cash systematically. You know, you're playing with a few things you might want to own. And the third is, you know, part of making that actual investment is to actually know what things you like to own. So I'll give you an example. Bitcoin. Bitcoin, if you put it in like a Celsius account, will pay you 6.2% as you own it. Now, I said a good return was 6%. But Bitcoin will go up to 60,000 per share, and then it comes down to 54,000, and then it goes back up to something else, and comes back down. If that's not something you like, okay, to own, because it jumps like that, then don't own it. Okay, you're looking for investments that you want to own, things that you want to own. If you don't want to own a rental house, of course, if you've never owned one, so you don't know what it feels like, then don't. There's tons of things that you could buy and, you know, that will return you, you know, money on the investment. And, you have to experiment with them with your small amounts of money and set aside your other cash so you can buy when that's appropriate to buy in the amount that's appropriate. Now, this is what investing looks like. And one of the things that's going to help you be successful, number one, is that now you have the skill set not to touch it. Number two, you're not making decisions like you were before, because those decisions are going to give you the result that you got before, which you don't want. Number three, you have a systematic methodology of building your investments over time, okay? And you have a reasonable expectation of what a good return is. What's a good return? 6%. Okay, now, 6%, if you buy, for instance, windmills, energy company is a 6%, but 6% is a 6% return after inflation. And so that's kind of what you're looking for. You're not looking for 100%. And when this money comes in and all of a sudden you look at it and your account's worth $25,000, right? What do? Do you buy a new car? Because that's what you already done before, right? Well, this is a different account. And so your thing is you're not going to touch it. You're not going to make decisions on the account. And these little play decisions that you do with, a month or something, have 4 or 5 things that you own just to learn about what it feels like. That's great. Now, these actual investment decisions like this, I might decide, in a year or in 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 things I'd like to own. Another rental house in this location, maybe this stock, maybe more right now, more Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then I just watch them, right? I just watch them, and in a year, I may make one decision like this. I may decide like this time I'm putting more money in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Well, when I decided, did I go do it? No, I waited. I'm watching for it to go down, for my money to accumulate from what I'm doing on the side, for this cash to accumulate, and then I'll buy it, right? So deciding to buy it and buying it, 2 different steps. And I may make maybe one decision like this per year and spend the rest of the year not touching it, not selling it, not changing it. Now, it leads to the question, which is, when do you sell? Well, when I sell, I generally have really thought through something I own that I don't like to own. It could be the return, it could just not feel good, I could not want to be part of that company. And so I might think through it for maybe even 6 months and just kind of think, well, I don't really want to own this. Now, if you look back at my scratch sheet of some of my other investments here, let me see if I can find it. I have to find it. But if you look back at the other investments I have, there's a couple on the list. You look at the other video I did last week that I say, yeah, I don't really want to own this long term. Now, Fox A is one I have. I'll probably sell at some point in Disney. I just don't like owning Disney. Cut their dividend, and I don't really like that much about the company. Home Depot, I'm not going to sell. I like owning it. And so over time, you end up selling things you don't want to own, keeping things you do want to own. Well, most people, they sell their winners and they keep their losers. They're like, well, I've got $10,000 in this. No, that stock doesn't know what you bought it at. And so that's not really relevant. And so when do you sell? Not very often. Maybe I hold something for 2 or 3 years and it doesn't do what I'm looking for, and so I'll sell it. And so that is my thinking on buying and selling. And when the market, dips, and everybody's afraid, I don't do anything unless I buy. Now, what do I buy? Well, I buy the things I've already experimented with that I want to own more of. Right? So right now, if the market dipped, when the market in 2020 dipped, 30%, I bought Home Depot and VIG. Why? Well, I already owned them. I like to own them. I would have liked to own more of them. And so that's what I bought then. Now, when everybody else is considering selling, I already know what I want. I I already have that perspective, this level over time about what it's worth to me. And then when it hits that price, I buy it. And so I'm not really triggered by the market other than the fact that I might buy when it's low. And if something is an investment that I won't buy when it dips, I won't buy when it goes down in price, then it's probably not a good investment for me. I probably don't believe it enough, to own it, and I probably need to get rid of it just because, if I can't buy when it's down low, I shouldn't hold when it's up high. Like and subscribe to the video down below. Thanks for listening today. I appreciate it. Appreciate my 16 subscribers. Talk to y'all later.